Hi, Tom Cole, the coach for Buckeye Cable and BCSN, and welcome into another edition of Sports Flash here at the incredible Hollywood Casino. But we've got a Lions superstar here today, Cory Schleshinger. Cory, I know how excited people are going to be to have a chance to. It's so great to be able to interact with people that you've admired. You know, you've watched them play, you've admired them, you've listened to the games, you've watched them, and then you get to interact with them and actually ask them questions. You're going to make a lot of people's day today.
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's part of the job also is we got to interact with them because, you know, really they're paying for a salary because without the NFL, without the fans, we don't have a job right now too. So, but this is probably the nice thing about doing things like this. They actually get to come up to see us without our helmets on, personally talk to us about what was things like, you know, what about this, you know, what player was, you know, the toughest player you played against. And it's a lot of fun. It's exciting for them because it's a chance for them to actually get to ask these type of questions because I'm sure they're always wondering, you know, it's not like the movies, you know, we don't do those things,
right.
You know, it's a
Hollywood
job for
version
us.
of football.
It's not like that.
Yeah,
so,
right.
But then part of it is it's a job. It's kind of a fantasy job too at the same time because there's nothing else in the world like this, the NFL, and it's just amazing.
Cory, you're, you know, superstar at Nebraska, and then you come to the NFL and the 6th round choice. And here's how I see Cory. You again were way ahead of your time. I mean, a fullback who could block, and I think somebody told me this. Now you tell me. You would smash up 20 face masks a year. Cory, is that right?
That's true. You know, this thing weighs a lot, so when it hits somebody, something's got to give, and it's not the neck or head, so the face mask is usually going to give out on me. So.
And Cory, I thought the nickname was Sledge. Now, is that true?
Oh, yeah, that is. I mean, there was Sledge, Rockhead, Anvil. That was a Chris Spielman one right there, and that was always a favorite there, too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, Cory, you know, so you're a fullback that could do the hard things. You know, you're blocking, you're picking up the linebacker, and these are athletic, you know, studly people. But amazed me is if they needed a yard, you can get it. You come out of the backfield, you catch the ball, you block. Your special teams, you're a guy that was so versatile from the fullback position. You were way ahead of so many fullbacks. Did you realize, you know, how far ahead of the curve you were?
Well, it's interesting because in '95, when they drafted me, I talked to the offense coordinator. Listen, hey Cory, you're not going to run the ball. You're not going to catch the ball. We just want you to block for number 20. You know,
was it Barry Sanders?
Yeah, that was.
Was not a bad guy to block
it's for. Difficult at times because
you didn't know where he was going.
He just takes off, and you know, and it was a lot of fun though. So you know, after a while though, they're like, you know what, this is not really working out that great. You know, this is a offense that's kind of a run and shoot type offense, and so they kind of like, all right, you just play special teams, and that was a blast for me. And kickoff, turn, pump, return. My job was go down and kickoff coverage and blow up the wedge. And
Cory,
Cory,
you know how much courage. I mean, the average football fan doesn't understand. I played some college football. Man, you're running down there, and you got to give up your body at a full sprint to these guys. I mean, that takes courage to do that.
It does. And the nice thing about it is I was pretty good at it. I was not afraid. I was not afraid to hit. You know, they got some big guys in the wedge. I mean, that's why they took the wedge out, because guys were killing themselves on both sides of the ball. But, you know, it was a great opportunity for me to actually highlight my talents. I had plenty of speed to go out there. I had plenty of toughness, and I had determination. And then Bobby Ross came in and said, hey, we're going to go to, you know, he liked the run between tackles. He was like big guys. We had the biggest guy, offensive lineman at one time, Aaron Gibson, and he liked to run ISO blocks, and it was great for me.
And you're going squaring up on
but
a
then,
linebacker.
then the bad thing was they're like, hey, Cory, we know you don't have enough experience running or catching the ball, so we're going to bring in Tommy Vardell also. So, you know, we're going to work you guys together, and which was fine. And then a few years after that, it was like, Cory, you got the position. You go out there and do it. Well, then Barry Sanders quits, and all of a sudden, Cory, let's see your two-point stance. I'm like, all right, let's go. Yeah. And so I got an opportunity to play a little running back, and then with more coaches coming in with the West Coast offense, they're like, Cory, let's see your hands now. So now we're throwing you the ball. So from coming into '95, this says the guys are saying, well, Cory Schleshinger can't catch a cold, to catching 6-year balls in one season.
You're a great pass
the evolution of Cory Schleshinger just kind of went on. I guess a lot of it too was a lot of hard work. I mean, I was out during the off season at the University of Nebraska, and I had some of my buddies throw me balls, but it was just a matter of me if I want to be a better player, a better fullback that can run, catch, and plus special teams, I had to do these extra things to play.
Cory, that's a great lesson for kids because your attitude was everything. I know guys, today, and you're coaching and doing things. If you ask a guy to do something that's out of his comfort zone, immediately you get the shutdown. Hey, that's not me. I'm not. And you just adapted and did these things.
Yeah.
Where did you get that? Because that's a special quality to have. And a lot of guys don't have that quality.
Well, I mean, it was just I enjoy the sport. And if I wanted to be a better player, I had to evolve also. I had to be a more rounded fullback.
Got it.
And a rounded fullback was Mike Allstott, who could run the ball really well. I mean, he had great balance. We had other guys, I can't think right now, that were great receivers out in the backfield. And so I'm like, I knew I was a good blocker. I mean, come from the University of Nebraska, they brought me in just for that blocking reason, and I knew how to block. So now I had to bring in these other areas to be the true fullback that the NFL wants. And it is work. It's not easy. I mean, from never catching a ball in college, I take it back. I caught 3 as a freshman.
Okay.
But, I had to really go out there and work to get to it. It just didn't come natural. You had to go out there and work, and the hard work actually paid off in the long run, and it was a lot of fun, actually. I like catching the ball. I like going the little wheel route out there, and all of a sudden the ball's just flying.
Little circle out, and there's Cory.
I'm out there like set 40 yards. And
I always liked the Cory. You cut the ball outside your body. You didn't chest catch it. A lot of the backs, they chest catch it, and then it bounce off their pads. And you were able to go out. I call it tweezer in the ball, where you go out and get it. Your hands got to the point where you go out and get the ball. You didn't have to chest catch it,
Right.
But, Cory, give me a quarterback. I was went through it with Herman. Mm-hmm. He had 22 line quarterbacks. He was going through all the lists. I love the position. I think the way the guy comes into the huddle and calls the plays, commands the huddle, and a lot of that has to do with being successful. Was there a guy or two that when they were in the huddle, you had big eyes and you were ready to – you were always ready to go, but a guy that got your attention, would there be one or two?
Well, it was interesting because it wasn't the starting quarter. It was Don Mikowski, my first couple of years.
Man.
Yeah, Magic. Yeah. He came in the huddle, and he was like telling jokes out there. And I'm like, what is going on? Why is our quarterback telling jokes in the NFL?
Yeah.
But we were successful. We were playing hard. We were playing well. And I think that's what he just kept us calm and just made us go out there and play the game without thinking too hard. And that's what people always say. Well, what was your success? You got to be prepared. And don't overthink things. Don't try too hard. That's a weird thing to say. Don't try too hard.
You can get too tight.
Yes.
That's like Montana, the end of the Super Bowl with the last drive, and he gets in the huddle and he says, hey, that's John Candy down there.
Yeah.
And everybody starts laughing, and they go on the drive and win the game.
And having guys like that on the team was it made the job a lot of fun, and it did relax you. It did calm you down. So he was always one of the things that I always remember about the NFL, about the many quarterbacks I had, that it was a lot of fun to play with him.
Cory, you've always been a guy that's given back, and I admire so much. You're a teacher.
Yes.
I taught for a long time, taught and coached. I know what that means. You're a guy making a difference every day with young kids. You're an inspirational guy. They see you as an example. And today, I don't have to tell you, a lot of kids don't have two parents. Many times, you become a surrogate parent to some of the kids because they need a role model. They don't have it. But here you're giving back every day in your community as this great teacher. Talk about your teaching experience.
Well, when I was going through college, what did I really want to do? It's kind of interesting because I don't think I was the most outgoing guy, but teaching was something I really enjoyed. I liked doing the football camps. I enjoyed the subject matter. It's a hands-on class. I do the industrial technology. I teach drafting, CAD, architecture. I had a home repair class also. But like you said, this is my 8th year at Allen Park High School, and I really enjoyed doing it. I had opportunities to do other things, but I said, listen, I wanted to use my what I graduated college with and hopefully make a difference. Like you said, a lot of these students, it's really sad that they don't have good role models. They don't have things at home. In my field, too, is I'm giving them opportunities to have a career also. A lot of these students are not great academic, but they come into my classrooms and they succeed because...
And they get confidence from succeeding.
Because that's the way their brains work. Their brain doesn't work on the math, but they can come in, they can design something.
And it doesn't mean they're not smart.
No, absolutely
It's just a different kind of intelligence.
It's just how the brain works.
Yeah.
Some people are artists. Some people are very smart in math. Some people are very hands-on people. And I want to try to emphasize to them, listen, there are jobs out there for people that know how to do these things. You don't have to be a doctor, lawyer, all these things. That's what everybody thinks. Everybody's pushing towards engineering or things like this. Like, these are hands-on careers out there, and they're begging for people that know how to do these things.
Are looking for people today.
I mean, the trades, the automotives, the woods, the people that can design. We're looking for, and there's companies that are looking for these men and women to fulfill these jobs.
Cory, John Kennedy said one time that one person can make a difference, and everybody should try. And you're an example of a guy that's always made a difference in every community you've been involved in. Keep up the great teaching, and it's an honor to have this Lion Star here in Toledo. Thank you so much, Cory.
Thank you very much.
And thanks to the great folks at the Hollywood Casino for bringing in these Lion superstars. Tom Cole for Buckeye Cable and BCSN.